Today we're making the Korean classic bulgogi. I love this dish. It translates to fire meat. You know it's going to be good. It's so easily customizable and it's packed full of flavor. And Dan's here. He's going to show us how to make a great version at home.
So this is one of my favorite dishes, and the first time I had it was well over a decade ago. My friend Song made his grandmother's recipe for me, and I was just totally smitten. It's this gorgeous, thinly sliced beef, really well seasoned, and it's wrapped in a lettuce leaf. You pop the whole thing in your mouth, and it's just like, it's perfect.
Grandma cooking's the best cooking.
It's the best kind of cooking, and one of the reasons that it's so flavorful is you make this sauce called Samjang, and it is built on 2 really delicious fermented pastes. We're gonna start with the whites and light green part of 4 scallions, and these are just minced thin. And then we have a 1/4 cup of doenjang. So this is fermented soybean paste, and it's packed with umami, savoriness, and some good salt. This forms the backbone of this sauce. The next one is gochujang. So they're both jangs, which is a fermented paste or sauce in Korean food. They're so savory and they add complexity to tons of dishes. So this is a tablespoon of gochujang. This adds sweetness and spice, again, a little bit more savoriness as well.
Right.
We're gonna loosen this up with just a tablespoon of water. We've also got 2 teaspoons of sugar, 2 teaspoons of toasted sesame oil, some really nice nuttiness there, and then finally 1 minced garlic clove. So much flavor. So just gonna stir this together. Beautiful. This is lovely with pork, and you see it served with all different kinds of meat. Today we're gonna make a beef bulgogi. This is gonna be so good with it.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna set that aside. And then let's pop over here, and we're gonna get to the beef, but first we're gonna make a pickle. In Korean cuisine, there are so many pickles, whether they're quick ones or fermented ones like kimchi. We're gonna make one of the simplest ones, which starts with a cup of rice vinegar. And this is the unseasoned kind.
Okay.
We're gonna season it ourselves. 2 tablespoons of sugar, and then 1.5 teaspoons of salt. So a super simple pickling brine. That is all dissolved. So we're gonna use radish for this, and normally Korean radish, it's a really big white one. This is a daikon, which is similar and works really well in this recipe. It's a little bit more readily available here in the States. So this is 1 pound. First, I'm just gonna peel it. So I'm just gonna lop off the tip and the end there, and we're gonna make matchsticks out of these. 1.5 inches here on the length, and we go about 1/4 inch.
I love this kind of Hadrian's Wall you're building here.
I feel like I'm a dealer at a casino.
Exactly.
So now that I've cut them in one direction, I basically just stack them up, run your knife through, and finish them up. Now I'm gonna transfer them over to our quick pickle brine. Stir these, make sure that they're all submerged in our brine there. So these will be ready in about 30 minutes, which is awesome. Truly quick pickle, but they can hang out in the fridge for up to 24 hours, and they'll just get nicer.
Fabulous.
So I'm gonna set this aside also. Now we can finally get to our beef.
That is gorgeous.
So beautiful ribeye. Now, if you have a good Korean market near you, they sell gorgeous thinly sliced steak. It's like machine sliced, and absolutely go for that. It is made for it, it's wonderful. If you don't have access to it, this is a really easy way to do it yourself. And you can obviously choose the cut that you want. Ribeye is really nice and tender, takes up flavor really nicely, and it's a favorite for this for sure. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of trimming, basically take off this big piece of fat here, but you don't have to do much. A little bit of fat will be nice in there.
One of the great things about ribeye has all that marbling in it.
Exactly, there's so much flavor and fat in there. So I'm just gonna cut this into about 1.5 inch wide pieces. So it's really gonna be about 3 pieces here. We're gonna go back on the plate. Beef like this, that's fresh, it's really hard to slice thin, it's squishy. So we're actually gonna freeze it for a bit. Not until it's solid, but until it is firmed up a little bit. 35 to 40 minutes. Okay, so our steak is nice and cold. You can check out how firm it is, right? Proof.
Right.
So that's great. It's gonna make it so much easier to slice. And my goal with slicing here is to actually do it this way so that we're cutting against the grain as we go down. And just go as thin as we can. They don't have to be perfect, and if some are small, it doesn't matter. You won't notice in the final dish.
Thinness is more important.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Just go as thin as you can. So I'm just gonna keep going until all of these pieces have turned into nice thin strips. All right, and that is it.
Beautifully done.
Nice pile of beautiful ribeye, nice and thinly sliced. This is not a super traditional step for bulgogi, but you do see it a lot in Chinese stir fries, and a trick that we use in the test kitchen a ton, and that is to give it a baking soda treatment. So I've got a tablespoon of water in this bowl, and I'm adding a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. This is a really powerful tenderizer, and it works immediately. Unlike marinades, they can take a long time to actually do their work. It makes it so the proteins don't bond together as tightly, keeps it really, really tender. So I'm just gonna stir this together. Helps hold on to a lot more moisture too. Great, so I'm just gonna transfer this over to the bowl and stir to coat. Now, while this sits for 5 minutes, I'm gonna go wash my hands for the next step. Okay, so now it is time for our marinade, where we're gonna get a ton of the flavor into this beef. We're gonna start with a 1/4 cup of onion. We've got a 1/4 cup of sugar, 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, more and more flavor. I have 4 cloves of garlic, tablespoon of toasted sesame oil. So that shows up in the samjang and then also in the marinade. And then finally a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. So I'm gonna process this for about 30 seconds until it's nice and smooth. All right, that looks beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna go right into our beef here.
Oh.
So I'm just gonna stir this to combine and make sure all of it is covered in that nice marinade.
It is smelling like bulgogi. I mean, it really is that potent aroma.
Sweet and savory.
Absolutely.
That awesome onion in there. Beautiful. Okay, great. Let's clean up a little bit and then it'll be time to cook.
Okay.
All right, it is time to cook. So we've got our beautiful marinated beef. I've got 2 teaspoons of vegetable oil heating over medium-high heat. You want just until shimmering, then it doesn't need to be smoking.
Okay.
And we're gonna get all of our beef in at once. So we're gonna cook this without moving it, just on this first side here for about a minute, just to get a little bit of browning. Now this version in the skillet, as opposed to being out on the grill, it's not about getting a ton of browning on it. We have so much flavor from the marinade, but this will allow it to do a little bit, and then we'll stir after that.
Sounds good.
All right, so it's been about a minute. Now I'm gonna stir. And our goal here is over the next 3 or 4 minutes is just to stir and get everything cooked through so we see no more pink beef, but you don't need to go any further than that. If you do go a little further, that baking soda is gonna help protect it.
Right, but you're not looking to turn over every single piece of beef. Okay.
Like we'll get some browning like that,
yeah.
which is great, but the rest of it doesn't need to go. Okay, so I see no more rosy beef in there. That means we are done. The final part is those scallion greens.
Right.
So cut into about 1.5-inch pieces, just for 30 seconds. That way they retain a little bit of crunch. Obviously they're beautiful, but a little bit more texture in there as well.
Lovely.
Beautiful. Okay, so this is done. I'm gonna get it out of here and onto my platter. Oh, looks so good.
That looks brilliant. Oh my gosh.
So good. It is time to eat. And this is one of the most fun and interactive things to eat as well. So the way that Song showed me how to do it, we can do it together.
Okay.
Is start with a beautiful piece of red leaf lettuce, and then a dab of our samjang. And you can control how much spice and intensity you want based on how much you add. And then just a little bit of beef. You don't need a lot. A little scallion. And then he really loved it with a little bit of sliced raw garlic. Just wrap it all up into a tidy little package.
Little bundle.
Little bundle. And then you just pop it all in.
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
You go ahead. This is why I love bulgogi so much. Everybody is so intense.
The samjang adds so much complexity and punch. And then that garlic, I love that. It's a sharpness that kind of washes it all. It's really nice.
Of course, you got the pickle. And some rice.
Really nice pickle to kind of refresh in between bites.
That is so refreshing. Pickly, refreshing, crisp. I'd keep that in my fridge all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I think you and I have a few more bundles to make.
We definitely do.
Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome.
Stupendous. And if you want to make beautiful bulgogi at home, make a quick samjang. Cut semi-frozen pieces of ribeye into thin slices. Toss the steak with water and baking soda and then a potent marinade. Cook the steak for just minutes in the pan. And the best part, assemble them into little bundles any way you wish. So from America's Test Kitchen, a beautiful, brilliant beef bulgogi. Fight you for that one.
I got my own.
I'll fight you for that one.
A lot of fighting going on here.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.